Bonjour, everyone, and welcome to the Rangers Review morning briefing. It is game day, match day here in Nice as Rangers take on the French side in the Europa League. And both myself and Chris are in the French city to look ahead to this game this evening. How's it going, Chris?
Not too bad. One of us will be working this evening, and one of us will be having a jolly. I will let the Rangers Review watchers decide for themselves who will have the best evening. I will give you a clue. It won't be me.
On saying that, I was slightly concerned this morning. I know yesterday a number of, Rangers fans with tickets in the home section of the stadium got the dreaded email yesterday saying their tickets were cancelled, which is a crying shame, I've got to say. I was slightly concerned that would be me as well. As I mentioned when was it last on? Tuesday. I bought one of those mystery tickets off the website, which I think is a good idea from Nice, where you don't find out where you're sat until the day before the game. So I got assigned my ticket yesterday. Couldn't download it last night, so you can imagine the fear that swept across me. But I have managed to download that, so fingers crossed we get in this evening to the game. Very much looking forward to it now. Nice, a cracking city, a bit of a trek for me yesterday. Flew Stansted to Marseille, a bit of a brutal bus journey from Marseille to Nice. And then I got to a hotel in Nice, Chris, and the little concierge guy gave us the wrong key for a room. So I went into a room containing a family in bed, which wasn't the best start to things here in Nice. So, but we've got a right room, and fingers crossed the Wi-Fi holds up, folks. I'm down in the lobby. Breakfast has just finished, so yeah, fingers crossed it holds up. A comment here from J-Boy says, what happened to the Mega Mic? I'm on my travels, buddy, so the Mega Mic cannot fit in my bag, unfortunately. So fingers crossed you can hear me okay. Chris, how was your digs? How was your day yesterday? A busy day for you yesterday, of course, with the press conferences taking place.
The match day -1, as the modern phrase for it is. It's always a busy day. So Nice, their press conference was at the training ground. A really smart setup up there, actually. I think it's 12 million euros it cost to build. Obviously funded by Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe. There was a model of a Mercedes Formula 1 car in the lobby there, and some great Nice memorabilia around about the place. There's actually in the press room. They've got like names of all the players, so there's pictures and other bits and bobs. They've got the wallpaper, if you like, is almost the names of all the former players. And one was spotted, a man who missed a penalty in a very important game for Rangers. We shall say no more. His name was spotted amongst a lot of them yesterday. So from there. Then I walk up the road to the Rangers press conference. Stuck outside for an hour before they would let us in. Rangers turned up about 10 minutes or so late by the time they got through passport control at the airport, and we were then kicked out of the stadium not long after the press conference finished. So I had to. Josh was doing his best Derek Clark solo podcasting impression after I got kicked out of the press room last night. So. These things they really go to plan, unfortunately, but matters very much out with our control. But no, looking forward to the game tonight. Really interested to see how Rangers go. Seen a number of fans out and about. Everybody's in good spirits, which says something considering how poor Rangers have been this season. But I think people they almost go into this game expecting Rangers to get a result tonight and then not get a result on Sunday. I think that probably sums up the nature of this side this season.
Yeah, there's a number of beers that were on my flight from Stansted out to Marseille yesterday, and that was very much the feeling that we do expect a positive result this evening, but not so much at the weekend. Trepidation, of course, with that match against St Johnstone on the horizon. Incidentally, of course, I was off yesterday, but Neil Jameson says, Rangers Review patched me yesterday. The last time I was patched like that was back in '89, waiting to meet a chick outside the cinema. So, yeah, apologise for that. There is a bit of dreaded lurgy going around So apologies that there was no show yesterday, folks. I know my dad is suffering a little bit from the old luggy, but he's battling on through at this moment in time, of course, and he'll be in that away end tonight. I'm a tad jealous of that. And it's Adam who is here as well. It says quiet night in the library tonight. Yeah, I'm sure he enjoyed himself last night, and let's hope we're enjoying ourselves this evening, because yes, as we mentioned, Rangers taking on Nice, and there was press conference day, as we touched on yesterday. You and Joshua discussed some of the big talking points from that, Chris. Now, it's fair to say the manager is under, for me, a great deal of pressure. He did say at the weekend he doesn't have any credit in the bank. Someone said in the last few days he's in his overdraft at this moment in time at Rangers, which I can't really complain about. He mentioned he's not met, but he spoke to Patrick Stewart, the incoming CEO, and he defended his style of play and his record. He talked about the rebuild again yesterday. Fans, I've seen a lot of comments coming in here as well. The fans just don't want to listen to this anymore at this moment in time. What did you make of the press conference yesterday?
I thought the news about his first conversation with Patrick Stewart was interesting. We didn't really expect that to come out of it. I know there'd been a lot of talk about Patrick Stewart's start date and why it's coming after the Old Firm Cup final. But I think it makes sense for him also to have those conversations. Clearly, he has to build some form of rapport and relationship with the manager. So I think it's good that they've had that time and they've been able to speak already. You'd love to have been a fly on the wall. I'll be able to hear both ends of that conversation. Really interesting to know what was said. The manager didn't really go into it yesterday. As you say, he touched on his future. Didn't really go into that too much as expected. I think touched on this with Josh on our brief video last night, where he's talking about the rebuild and saying it's 4 months and rather than 12, 13 months. I don't think he's going to. I don't know where that line has come from. Maybe he thought of it on the plane on the way over, but I don't think that's an avenue that he should be going down. The press boys here were speaking a lot yesterday about his time at Monaco, and there are comparisons with how his Rangers career is unfolding. A bright start, looking good, encouraging signs early on, and there's then a result. Ironically, we think it was actually against Nice. Monaco lost that game. You're then looking at the Rangers game against Motherwell. Rangers have never really recovered from that. The league then fell away, didn't win the Scottish Cup this season, has just never got going. So I don't think you can say, well, just judge me on 4 months. And also, if you were judging him just on 4 months, it's not exactly been an overly positive 4 months. There's been a lot of issues over the course of the last few weeks, and going down that road, I don't think that's going to win over the Rangers fans. They're not going to say, well, actually, you're right, we'll cut you a bit of slack and we'll forget the fact. Yes, we acknowledge the fact that Rangers got themselves into a title challenging position, but the fans won't forget that Motherwell game, Dundee, the Ross County game, obviously stands out. The way the season finished, the fans aren't going to forget that. They're not going to forget losing an Old Firm Cup final. So all of that comes into the equation. You can't say, well, just forget what happened last season. Clement was the manager last season. He was responsible for some of the good, responsible then for the bad. He has to take all the good and the bad comments, all the good and the bad feelings from what has happened this season. As we know, it's more bad. A lot of negatives for Rangers so far this season. I said, I don't think the fans are going to be won over by that stance that he adopted last night. So I said, if it is something that he really believes, that's fine. But I don't think it's going to do him any favours repeating that particular one too often.
Yep, absolutely. Apologies, folks, if there's a wee bit of background noise. As I mentioned at the top of the show, I'm in the hotel lobby. The Wi-Fi in my room is pretty much non-existent. This guy's trying on Santa hats to my right-hand side, having that jolly old time. But so apologies if you do hear a wee bit of background noise here. But one of the points he mentioned who's quizzed how's the squad for this game, and that way positive. Spoke about that last season with big periods with 12 players out, long periods like that. So Oscar did his first part of the training today, so he will need still a few more weeks to be really ready to play games, but it's a positive thing. Tom Lawrence is also close. It's in the next couple of weeks. He'll be back. Ravi Matondo the same. And we want to keep it in that way. I think John is a good example in that way also for the past year. And he has problems in the past, the way he's been performing in the last couple of months, regularly playing all these minutes. It's the first time in his career that he plays so many minutes. That we have a few other examples in that way also, so that's a positive, and we want to keep it that way. And we're a lot of times busy with prevention, with the power, with the training, doing the right things, and now you start to see the fruits of all the things we've been working on in the last couple of months. So it's not the work of a few weeks to do that, and he's also one proof of that. So that's what he had to say on the squad. Chris, in terms of team selection this evening, can you foresee many alterations? Of course, no Danilo, Yanis Hadji in the European squad, so that sort of limits the options available to Philip Clement. How do you see Rangers shaping up this evening?
It almost sums up the situation that Rangers are in. The two players who got a wee bit of praise and who looked brighter on Saturday against United are Hadji and Danilo. Clearly made a difference after the break. And of course, next game they're then not available because they're not in the European squad. So there's not a lot of options there. I think the injury update yesterday, when asked about that in the press conference, said that Tom Lawrence was close. He'll be back in the next couple of weeks. Ravi Matondo was the same. Oscar Cortez has done the first part of his training yesterday. Again, a positive, but has been out. It feels like almost the entire season that he's been out. So I think having those options, having a fully fit squad, would certainly help. You need as many players as possible. Need as many good players as possible. But I say Rangers are still just short of options, short of quality, short of goals, as we've discussed so often. I thought it was interesting the manager talking about the style, because there is this theory that Rangers are better suited to European games rather than domestic games. He kind of refuted that, and he spoke about not having some of those injured players that I mentioned there and how that has impacted them. So he doesn't have a lot of options tonight. In the predicted side that I've got on the website, I went for a bit of a curveball and put Ross McCausland playing off the left-hand side. That would allow us to have Bayrami playing more centrally. I think you look at that area in behind, it's obviously going to be Cyril Dessers that leads the line. You look at that position in behind him, nobody has really nailed it down this season. Lawrence has got his faults, has got his positives. Diomande has never really got going this season, so we've not seen enough from Diomande. So I think if Diomande plays, it's because there's no one else to play, because there's no Lawrence, there's no Hadji. We'd like to see Bayrami finally moved in one. Of course, that then causes an issue on that left-hand side. It's not going to be Jefty moving up and Ridvan coming in. No, that left-back place is Jefty's. So you're then looking at someone like McCausland being the only other option for that left-hand side. Rangers really short of pace in the side at present. So I'm not saying that Ross McCausland is the answer to all the problems. I'm not saying that he's going to make a massive difference. I just wonder if you could maybe use someone like him just to give Rangers a bit of pace, playing the ball over the top, trying to get in behind Nice. Use someone like McCausland, and that would allow Bayrami to operate in his more favoured inside role, and it then takes the Diomande problem out of the starting lineup, because I say his form this season does not merit starts in games like this so far. But if he does, I think it just shows that he's just not got the options.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's wing up your team then on the screen, as if by magic. Here we go. So this is your side tonight. That just taking a little bit of time, and there we go. So just need to screw your eyes a little bit, folks, if you want to try and read the players there. But yeah, so a back four of Sterling, Suter, Balogun, and Jefty, Barron, Raskin midfield. I do like the idea of Bayrami in that sort of pocket number 10 role, Chris? I get your thinking behind McCausland on the left. Cherney, of course, one of the first picks in that Rangers team just now. And Dessers up top. Bayrami, we've not seen him in that role. He has come in for a bit of criticism, it's fair to say, over playing in that left-hand side. But I don't think it's fair to pass judgment on him at this point unless we start seeing him in his proper position. He's someone that was brought to the club to play as a number 10. It's high time Rangers started playing him there.
I think he would be more effective in there. I think he can still be judged. He can still be praised when required. He can still be criticised if required. I think his form of late hasn't been at the level expected, but that can apply to so many members of this squad. Again, the manager touched on him and Vaclav Černý yesterday in terms of the amount of game time that they've had to get through, just because those options are not there. I think you're looking at likes of Bayrami and Černý tonight. If Rangers are going to get a positive result, they need to be at it. You need when the side is so short of creativity as it is, then you need to be you need your more creative influences to really be at it. I know I already see some comments coming in saying why is Cyril Dessers going to play? There's no one else to play. Igaman is not at the level. Danilo is not in the squad. Therefore, Cyril Dessers is your striker. And I think again, as I've touched on at stages over this campaign, European football perhaps suits Dessers a bit more, but that relies on the players round about him. One, giving him the service, and two, getting close enough to him so that he's not isolated. Because when he is isolated, we know how little impact he can have on the game. So I think his performance in the first half at the weekend was way off the standard required. I joked to Josh post-match, I think I touched the ball as many times as Dessers while I was sitting up in the gantry on Saturday. He just was not involved at all. You would expect him to be more involved tonight. We're only just a couple of weeks on from that night in Greece, and he was the man that cost Rangers a win but earned Rangers a point. And that is just Cyril Dessers. So I think he will start. A number of those guys, you look at like Raskin and Barron, they're nailed on. Shefty's nailed on. John Suter, obviously. Maybe a call to make it a centre half. Balogun gets the nod for me. Either Robin Proper, who's not done enough for me at all. And you're then looking at right back. Is it going to be Sterling? Is it going to be Tav? We're going to have this conversation many times over the course of the season. I think Sterling needs a run at right back. We need to see what he can do there consistently. We need to see that he can churn out the games in the manner required. Played at the weekend, has to play tonight, has to play again at the weekend, just to give him that run. So that's how I would go. Whether that happens or not, as we know, to our peril, predicting a Clermont 11 is a tricky old business. So we'll get the team news about an hour and a half, an hour and 15 or so before the game. And honestly, I'll be on live from the stadium later on to see how close I get.
Yeah, we don't often get a Clermont team correct. This is how Joshua would line up his Rangers team, folks. So some slight deviations from yours, Chris. So we'll get his team up as if by magic. Here we go. So this is how Joshua would line Rangers up. He's got James Tavernier come back in at right back. He's got Robin Proper coming in for Leon Balogun at the back, and Mohamed Diamande, we just touched on there. He's come in for some criticism in that midfield three. So not necessarily playing a 10 as such, but 6 and 2 8s, if you like, with Bayrami over on the left, Černý on the right, and Dessers up top. This is a team I can see, Chris. Diamande, for me, cannot play in that 10 role. I don't want to see him play there ever again, to be honest with you. And I think Rangers will get more benefit out of him playing in a deeper role over in that left-hand side. So I can see that midfield this evening, as you touched on there, the Sterling or Tavernier debate. know that Sterling get the nod at the weekend. I think that was quite telling to have never came on. But could that be with one eye on tonight? We know Olympiacos, he came on off the bench as a sub, but are we now starting to see the phasing out of James Tavernier, do you reckon?
I think a number of the boys were talking about this at the weekend once the team was announced against United, and I think the feeling was that Balogun would start and then not start tonight, and that Tav would start against United and then not start tonight. Interesting, that obviously wasn't the case. I know Josh is going for proper in there. Again, it feeds into this feeling of players being perhaps more suited to the European style. I know that's actually something that Proper touched on in an interview in Holland over the last couple of days, talking about the style of Scottish football and how it's taken him a bit of time almost to get used to some of the nuances of the Scottish game. On Tav, I say we've had this conversation a number of times. It will keep coming around. It was interesting that he didn't start on Saturday. It felt like a big call because it wasn't like it had been previously, where you've got a weekend and a midweek and you say, well, he's been rested and we're just managing minutes, coming off the back of a break, having not played. Obviously during that break, it felt like yes, we are going with our first choice right back, and that is John Sterling. The manager will never come out and speak about it in those terms. Obviously, he'll say we're managing minutes, we're getting players through, everyone's required. I don't have number ones or number twos, but it did feel like a big call at the weekend. So interested to see how he goes tonight. It would be no big surprise at all if Tav comes back into the side tonight. If he does, there'll be a lot of eyes on his performance, because Nice do have the capabilities of causing Rangers problems. And if it's evident that they're going down that side and they are targeting Tav, you know what the comments are going to be. We know what we're going to be discussing after the game.
Absolutely. Just on Proper, I can see him starting tonight. He never had a good game at the weekend. Like you, Chris, he has struggled, and he said it himself that he's not used to the physical nature of Scottish football as what he's used to in Holland and the Eredivisie. But generally, away from home in Europe, I thought he was good against Olympiacos. I thought he was good against Malmo. I can see him starting tonight, I've got to say, and I've got I'm not overly concerned about that. In fact, I'm not overly concerned. And speaking to, as I've touched on earlier, Rangers fans over here about tonight. He gets a result tonight, the manager. I don't think it changes the situation in terms of the fan feeling, Chris, and the general mood around the club at this point in time. So, tough place to be as a Rangers manager.
He could perhaps look at that situation and think it's unfair. You could ask fans of other clubs. You could ask journalists that follow other clubs. You could ask a number of other people within the game and say, well, you go away and you win in Nice. Does that take any pressure off an under pressure manager? When you're at Rangers, unfortunately, I mean, you're in the situation. It just doesn't. People might think that's unfair. People might think that it's harsh, but as Clement touched on at the weekend, credit in the bank is running very, very low. He needs a sustained run of performances and results, not one-offs. Because we spoke about after Malmo, it was a case of this has to be the bar, this has to be the level set, this is the foundation fixture and all that type of stuff. It didn't happen. Beating Bucharest at Ibrox, good performance that night. Rangers better going forward that night. Again, the talk of this is the foundation fixture, this is the new bar, it's a line in the sand, it's all of these things. They just become words because the actions then don't follow. Rangers could easily go and get a result tonight. Would it be a massive shock if they got a result? No, not at all. His record overall in Europe is good. The away record overall in Europe is good. It wouldn't surprise me if Rangers were to get something tonight, and if they do, it puts them in a really, really encouraging position heading into the last couple of games. Something that we're discussing over dinner last night. It looks around about 9-10 points should be should be good enough to get you through. You look at the next couple of games coming up for Rangers, obviously Man United and Spurs at Ibrox, really tricky. You would like to try and have qualification done before that Union game at Ibrox. A win tonight and Rangers are there. If they don't win tonight, if they're to lose tonight, they're then looking at need to pick up a result from the last three, and also Union at Ibrox is going to be the most realistic one. It would be a big achievement for a squad who has been as inconsistent, for a squad who has been as poor as regularly over the course of the season. It would be an achievement for them, something John Souttar touched on in his press conference yesterday. It would be another boost for this group if they could secure qualification. But in the grand scheme of things, in terms of the manager's situation and the feeling around him and the feeling around the fan base, is it going to change it that much? Probably not, because we're then back to domestic duties, and we know the importance of these running games. This running games coming up. Old Firm Cup final speaks for itself. The Old Firm at Ibrox in January speaks for itself. But again, as we touched on earlier on, speaking to a number of fans the last couple of days, it's St Johnstone away. That's a tricky game. Ross County, tricky game. Kelly coming up. Who knows? These are the ones that Rangers fans are wary of. These are the ones that they're now not fearing, but these are the ones where they don't have as much confidence as they should have. But there's people coming tonight, expect them to get a result.
I think a lot of fans have lost interest as well. We've seen sort of the empty seats at Ibrox at the weekend, Chris. A lot of fans are now turning off and they don't feel a connection with this Rangers team, which is absolutely galling. Speaking to a Rangers fan yesterday, he said he's got two kids, 16 years of age, and they don't have any proper heroes that they can aspire to be like. If you remember growing up, of course, we were spoiled in the 90s and the early noughties with Rangers players that were of a by far and away a higher calibre than what we're watching at this moment in time. But there's no one you can really latch onto at this point, which is a real crying shame. But yeah, certainly in Europe, Rangers often get a result. I think Clement has built a team built for European football and not for the domestic game. I don't think I can disagree with much of what you had to say. Now, before we wrap up and we call time on today's video, we have launched our Black Friday offer here at the Rangers Review, folks. Not only do we have a YouTube channel, but we also have a website as well. And we've launched a cracking deal. We can get a full year's subscription to the Rangers Review for just £12. Now, not only that, but we're flinging in a free gift as well, and from Your Arts, who does some great graphic designs. So if you sign up to the Rangers Review, you also get this lovely little print, also commemorating Rangers' glorious night at Ibrox, beating Leipzig in that Europa League semi-final a couple of years ago now. So you can commemorate that by taking out a year's subscription to the website. Just head over to rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe to sign up. Cracking deal this, Chris.
It certainly is. There's no better way to spend £12. Actually, one of the press guys here spent £12 on two coffees yesterday morning at breakfast, and I know what the better value is. It's 12 months of the Rangers Review. As you say, I really appreciate all the support and all the feedback that we get on the briefing and all the shows that we do. But we have so much content on the website. Just in the last couple of days, we've had updates on the chairman's situation. We broke the news about Patrick Stewart as chief exec. We've had some insight into his appointment and how that's come around. Josh also does a number of great insights into the data-driven side of the game, the tactical side of the game, really breaking down where it's gone right on odd occasion and where it's gone wrong on more occasions, unfortunately.
Yes.
So, but that's the highs and lows of following Rangers. That's the highs and lows of reporting on this club over my career. I've had more lows than highs, unfortunately. It's been a difficult run, but we do our best to to get the big stories, to get the exclusive news, to get the best interviews, the best features, the best analysis, and that's why we operate under the tagline of the best Rangers journalism, because we do believe that both on the YouTube channel and on all our social media, and certainly on the website, we provide a level of coverage that you just don't get elsewhere. So I say the best way to support that, the best way to help us continue to do that, is by taking out a sub to the website. And I said this is your chance over the next week. £12 for 12 months. Don't miss your chance.
Yeah, it's a cracking deal, folks. Practically giving away the content you'll get. I can't speak highly enough of it, and we're flinging in the free gift as well. Look cracking in a frame. So yeah, get yourself signed up. Head over to rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe. Right, we'll wrap up there. How's it going tonight, Chris? Because obviously I'm now off to sample some of the French local Vin Rouge, I'd imagine. So how's Rangers getting on tonight? Are they getting a result?
I think I'll buy into the theory that Rangers will get a result tonight and perhaps drop a couple of points on Sunday. Hopefully I'm proven wrong on Sunday at McDermott Park, but I would fancy Rangers to get something tonight. Whether I've got enough quality up front to win or not, who knows? But I'll go for. I'll just, as James steals my thunder there, I'll go for one each.
Interestingly, I spoke to Luke Entwistle, cracking interview, folks. If you want to get some insight on Nice, he's an editor for Get French Football News, which is a very popular English content website covering French football, and he spoke about Nice in great detail. He says they're a team that often score goals, but they are fragile a bit at the back. Expect a fast start. If Rangers can weather that storm, then you can see Rangers going on and getting a decent result, but he does expect Nice to score tonight. I also expect Nice to score. I also expect Rangers to score. I'm going for a 2-2 this evening. I think there's going to be goals in it, and in Europe, Rangers are a different animal. I do fancy them to get a result. As world's greatest DJ goes along the same lines as me. But yeah, good luck to Rangers tonight. Good luck to all yous, everyone that's heading out to Nice as well. If you got the dreaded email yesterday, I hope you get sorted with a ticket somewhere in the ground. It'd be a crying shame if we see empty seats all over the shop tonight. Real gutter for many who have booked accommodation and flights to head over, just to be told the day before that their ticket has been cancelled. Very poor show indeed. So I hope you get sorted with that. I am back tomorrow morning on the show. I think I'm on with Joshua. Chris, you've got an early start, haven't you? Back to Blighty. So I think it'll be myself and Joshua back on tomorrow morning. Where hopefully we're reporting on a positive Rangers result in Europe. As Chris touched on there, he is the one with the working cap on tonight, so he'll be there with your usual pre-match and post-match content to come. So join Chris and Joshua a little bit later on, folks. Right, we'll wrap up there, and we'll speak to you a little later on. Bye for now.